Let's revisit the 3 questions and see how you feel. Can you guess somebody's FMS? If you can't, then you should probably be adding it to your battery of tests. And no, it should never be your only test. We simply say the FMS helps you decide the next test. Secondly, if your client or athlete can guess their FMS or cannot guess their FMS, it's interesting to see their perspective, because most of the time they over or undershoot their abilities and then will not understand the training decisions and programming decisions you're making. And lastly, do you have an objective feedback loop for a single session? Now, even though many of us may use objective feedback loops for long-term gains or even moderate to short-term gains over a few weeks, do we really have a single session feedback loop? Because remember, my emotional state and the client or athlete's emotional state feed into this single session. So we could both be having a bad day and consider it a bad session. We could both be having a good day and consider it a good session. But is it really a good session? Can we build on this, or was it simply just another day of burning calories without really changing movement patterns or developing movement patterns? The FMS can provide a single session feedback loop. When we find the one bottleneck test, and we've got an algorithm to help you find that, it's great to use a corrective strategy throughout the routine, throughout the exercise program, to confront that problem and to see as they expend energy through a 30, 45-minute, or even hour session, how that corrective pattern, which is designed to magnify the problem and force them to work through it, opens the movement pattern. Let's start with the worst case scenario. If you have no change at all in the movement pattern, you know exactly what not to do on the next session. You might not know what to do, but you know exactly what not to do because the neurological system did not give you a nod, did not give you a thumbs up and say, I like the direction you're going in. Whereas, if in a single session, with only a small percentage of the time dedicated to the corrective, you can change that movement pattern, then not only have you demonstrated that you can work a client or athlete through a conditioning session, you have developed a program because of your feedback loop that demonstrates that their bottleneck, their biggest movement dysfunction, was also improved while a conditioning session was going on. And once again, it's important for you to understand that those of us who've been developing and refining movement screening have tried to create a functional testing battery that does not make everyone fail, to force everyone to corrective exercise. Our goal is not corrective exercise, and our goal is not screening. Our goal is to have conditioning and attempts at professional fitness coaching to have no negative results. And it never ceases to amaze us how many individuals interested in fitness and athletes interested in performance have been under the professional direction of a coach or trainer for 12 months and still score a 1 on the movement screen. And remember, a 1 on the movement screen is the inability to perform a movement pattern that most children can perform. You don't have to do the movement screen perfectly, but you at least need to be able to competently get through the movement, regardless of the amount of imperfections that we allow. And if you can't even get through the movement pattern, then we would like to ask you, you're either unaware of this or you're part of the problem. You've actually been loading a dysfunction and hitting save on a very, very embarrassing document. The movement pattern that they have with a 1 in the movement screen is considered incompetent. They have no competency in this pattern. So you've been intentionally avoiding it because you don't understand it, or even worse, you've been loading it and stressing it, probably contributing to the dysfunction instead of being part of the solution. I'll leave you with a really interesting book to read. It's called The Mission, The Men and Me, Lessons from a Delta Force Leader by Pete Blaber. He talks about a meeting with a psychologist one time helping him through some problem-solving issues. And the psychologist gave him 3 words to help the hemispheres of his brain work together and to help him do problem solving in a way that both allows creativity but has moderate structure. The psychologist told him that the process of problem solving and the process of thinking starts with saturation, meaning grab some information and pull it in. But once you feel like you've got the information that needs to be considered, cut off the information stream and go into incubation. Develop the information. Stop talking, stop asking questions. Take what you've already consumed. Take what's already been saturated. Take the information and apply it. That's the number one problem we have. The people who criticize movement screening have not applied it and have not checked the 3 boxes I've asked you to check. And last is illuminate. On the other side of that, your illumination would say that that's not a productive path or that's a productive path. If you answer these 3 questions and don't feel like the movement screen provides value to you, then that's fine. But make sure you go through the process of saturation, incubation, and illumination. Thanks for listening. Check those boxes. And if you can't, work on it and see if you can. I think you'll be surprised at what you find.